Is it recording? There we go. All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Thanksgiving Lunch and Learn edition for the San Diego User Group. I am your host, Tracie Hart. As I said earlier, I don't have supervision today, so I will try and reduce the swearing. I will try and keep my puns at a minimum, and I'm known for breaking promises, so don't believe anything that I just said prior to this. Let's get started. So Tracie's admin favorites, thankful as Cluck. Let me put this in present mode. Present. Perfect. All right, so we are going to go over a whole medley of things. Things that I have loved that are specifically related to Salesforce, things that I've loved that are related to being better at my job, and things that I just think everybody likes. So we have some Salesforce exclusives here. Formulas and the app exchange, and then everything else, Chrome extensions, and then just in time for the holidays, good Amazon buys. No, I'm not sponsored, nor do I wish to be sponsored, nor do I know what that means, but I hear it said on TikTok. So let's get right into it. Formulas. There are so many great formulas out there. Today, I'm only going to talk about one, actually, so I should have just relabeled this as formula, but it is a godsend that I learned early in my career and have used it in every org across every object. For those of you who have a hunch, yes, that is where I'm going, the power of one. What is the power of one? So for those of us who don't know, you've experienced your frustration with this before. You are running an opportunities report, or you're not running an opportunities and product report. You're trying to see how many opportunities are assigned to a specific user, and bless Salesforce and it's whatever, but it gives you the total number of records. It assumes you just want to see everything in the kitchen sink, which means what do? Well, in the past, you had to export it to Excel to then do formulas there, to then get true calculations and true numbers for what you're trying to look at. In comes the power of one. And the power of one is the simplest formula. I think it was the first formula that I ever made. And I thought to myself, wow, this is all that formulas are? This is sweet. But essentially what it is you go into any object, you select formula as your field type, you select number, make sure you reduce those decimals to 0. And then in the formula field itself, the formula editor, you are just putting the number 1. And this, by the magic of Salesforce, will calculate and add up only those records on that object. So super cool, super amazing. The recommendation is put it on all of your objects in Salesforce. And I would take that a step further and say, put it on all of your objects in Salesforce and teach your users, especially ones who build reports, what it means and how to use it. Another big suggestion is, even though this screenshot says power of one, dear God, do not name it power of one, for a whole multitude of reasons. But let's say you are taking my advice, going into your org, adding this sweet new formula field, and you name it power of one across all objects. You are accidentally putting yourself in future reporting hell, especially for those joined reports that are considering multiple objects as you're doing that report. The route that I have taken, I've played with naming conventions over the years, and what I like to call it is unique object. So if I'm on the account, I'm calling it unique account. If I'm on opportunities, I'm naming it unique opportunity. You can see where I'm going with this from here. So my power of one in my orgs is called unique, and then the name of the object. And it is fantastic. It simplifies the reporting process, and it makes your end users more trusting of their results. So that is the end-all be-all formula of formulas that I think is just, you could put it in your org today. You can make it so that it's only visible to yourself and play with that reporting. Nobody's the wiser, and you've made your life better. Formulas. Oh, also, I should say, feel free to post into the chat here if you have any recommendations as we go through this. So additional formulas that you guys like, tell each other about them. Let's share the love here. Today, I'm only going over the power of one because I have so much other cool stuff I want to show. So let's go to the next one. App Exchange. For what I'm about to show next, I made sure that I'm only showing you truly free things, not freemium, not free until a certain point, not all of that jazz, truly free, so that you don't have to worry about installing it, of course, in your sandbox first, making sure that it works for your org, and then pushing it to production. All of these things are pretty back end as well. So again, as an admin, you can test it in your UAT environment. And if it makes you happy and gives you joy, you can push it to production today, and you've made your life easier by Monday. Clone this user. Over the years, there have been a ton of clone this user apps on the App Exchange. And I feel like I've been through them all and suffered through their problems. The one that I love, have been using for over 2 years now, without any problems, is called Clone This User. Its icon is 2 little sheep, which is adorable. But Clone This User, again, makes provisioning super simple. Also, I will be sharing this slide deck after this, and I've included links to everything that I'm talking about in the bottom left corner of every slide. So just so you guys know. So Clone This User, once installed, when you go to the user page, you will see it available in the custom links section. I'm pointing that out because it took me a while to find it. And yes, I'm sure it was in the directions for the package itself, but I didn't read it. So I'm just pointing that out to you guys. You'll find it in the custom links section. We use this every week. We are in a hiring spree right now where we have new users every Monday. And what used to take a lot of time, we just look at the users are coming in, who their manager is or who their colleagues are, and we're grabbing that colleague in Salesforce, hitting the clone this user from this button, and then just filling in the new details. You literally just have to put in the name and the email address, and then make sure to look at the custom fields that you have on your object record, because it'll show you them. And if there's any custom fields that are filled in, just be sure and clear those out. And I say that because your users, after they log in, some are great and they put in their alternate email address, or they'll put in their phone number, or they'll put in their preferred time zone. You don't want to clone those things to a new user, so just be sure to expand that custom field section and make sure you're clearing those values. Another thing to keep in mind, if you are a DocuSign org, make sure you're clearing out the DocuSign IDs so that new user doesn't have an issue trying to log into DocuSign the first time because they have accidentally wrong credentials of someone that they were cloned from. They won't know what the problem was, and you can fix it easily, but avoid the problem altogether. Clone this user. Next up, I have Field Spy. Now, with the App Exchange things that I'm about to show you, I have been very inspired this year around cleaning up my org. Call it the expansion of what permission sets and permission set groups is going towards. Seeing the writing on the wall with, in this recent Salesforce history, our workflows got retired, Process Builder got retired, not missing them. It's just, we are streamlining. So I have been trying every quarter of this year to try and clean up my org as best as possible, so that with these future projects of enhancements that Salesforce is rolling out, I'm not behind the curve and that I have to clean before I can enhance. So that is the inspiration behind all of what I'm showing you right now. Very heavily influenced by that this year. Field Spy is incredibly cool. You will see others similar to Field Spy. I like Field Spy because it gives me very easily the percent populated. And I like to see that view because if you are in an org like mine, or any org in general that has tech debt, which is all of us, there were fields that were made back in the day that were used for one use case and forgotten. Or there were fields that were part of projects led by people who are no longer here, so they are forgotten. There are things that are no longer visible on page layouts. You have no idea about that, but they're no longer used. If a user can't see them, what's the point in it existing? So Field Spy is a really great free app that lets you very nicely see what's the label, what's that field type, is it custom, i.e. can I do something about it, and it's percentage populated on the total records in your org. So this is a great starting place to say, hey, anything that's populated on less than 10%, let's Go after those first, see what can be deleted, see what can be archived, and move on from there. Field Spy is a very cool one. Next up, user access and permissions assistant. I think we deal with this every day, where a user says, I can't see what Steve sees. I can't see what Kyle sees. Or, hey, am I supposed to see credit card information? It always goes one of two ways. And you are left going, okay, I guess I have to log in as this user, confirm what they're seeing, and then I have to go to my standard bag of tricks where I'm checking out their profile, seeing if it's there, checking out all of their permission sets, seeing where this power is being given. And it's an exercise that wastes time because it's a simple thing to fix, but it's time consuming in the way that we have to do it. That's where this package comes in handy, because this is where you can see on the left-hand side, I want to analyze this specific user. I'm going to put in her name, and then it's going to show me all the permissions that that user has. And it's going to show me where that permission is coming from. So I can narrow it down exactly, take that permission away or give that permission back, and I am on my way to doing other things. So this is another very cool tool that just helps the daily debugging that you have to do. That's part of the job. This makes it simple. This makes it a couple minutes versus 30 to 45. And as we all know, that time is so important. So get things like this for your org to make your life simpler. Yes, complete. Yeah. So I wasn't sure, to be honest with you, Nathaniel, Kenny, I wasn't sure if we were going to have end users on this call. And I always try to believe the best in people. And maybe there's an opportunity where people have complained about seeing too much. I've never experienced it, but I wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt. Yes, you can install it to your org from the App Exchange. Yes. Kenny, maybe that person exists. We got to have hope, right? That somebody will out themselves and say, hey, I think I'm seeing social security numbers when I shouldn't be seeing them. That user has to exist. We hope. Next up, Bitly. Okay, not a Salesforce exclusive thing, but honestly still helpful. You are doing a lot of ad hoc work for your users. Your user reaches out to you on Slack or God bless you, Teams, and they're like, hey, I need to see my opportunities that are closing in the next quarter and I need them ASAP. And you go, no problem, Steve, let me make that for you. And you make the report and then you copy that whole URL and you give it to Steve. It just doesn't look great. It's a long URL and it looks, I don't know, at the end of the day, almost sloppy. Combine that with if you have to send emails where you are sending links quickly. I mean, obviously you can do what I did here where you write the shorter word and then you include the link shortcut to it and that hides it. Bitly does a wonderful thing as well. So Bitly shortens that URL into something pretty and digestible, and it gives that end user just a sense of like something that's more put together, something that's easier to digest because the link is somehow shorter. It's a mental thing. Bitly also creates QR codes for you, which if you guys know me, you know how much I love to use and abuse QR codes. There's no QR code in this deck. It's fine. I'll add it after the fact. It's all good. But yes, Bitly, while not exclusive to Salesforce, I do think it's very cool to use. And I'm now just realizing that Bitly accidentally got put in the App Exchange portion when it should be in the Chrome extension portion. So still a cool tool. It's in the wrong place in my slide deck. It should be in the Chrome extension section. Did I skip? Hang on. User access and permissions, and then I just went to Bitly. Oh, my bad. Back to App Exchange. Org check. Again, you guys know what is inspiring me this year, cleaning up my org. Org check I discovered just prior to Dreamforce this year, and it is so fantastic. I am just capturing 2 of the possible use cases that you can use org check for, but I just thought it was so cool and so helpful because This is stuff that I've been doing in the past where I'm opening up an Excel spreadsheet, trying to organize my columns and rows so I can see dependencies, so I can see relationships, and then making educated decisions on what we need to change from there. Org check does that for you. So over here, if you look at this schema, it's basically showing you, like, it gives you a schema tree to be like, hey, look at this field here. It's dependent on this. These are their locations, and here's information on them. Cuts your research work like more than in half. So if you are at a state where your org has gotten very complex and you know things need to be streamlined, I highly recommend downloading and installing org check. Again, it's just one of those fun admin tools. Your users will never be the wiser, but if that is a project that you see for yourself in the near future, install it. It is simply so cool, and they are literally so many use cases, so many things that it does. Over here, the click and point automations review. It shows now workflows and process builders, are they still active? I guess would be your starting point there. But it shows what their actions are. It shows what they're doing. It shows if they're active. And again, easily digestible, easily exportable. The starting point for your org cleanup project lies within this App Exchange product. Completely free too. And it's incredible. Is org check something we can install in our own? Yes, it is. Yep. You can install it today. I will have, the link is right here for that one, and I will share the slide deck right afterwards. I am calling them the exact things that they are. If you are feeling antsy and want to be in the App Exchange at the same time, just type in org check, and this little, I want to say dog raccoon. This guy is your icon. So yes, org check, I think, is the #1 tool that I'm using for cleaning up my org. It's saved me hours and hours of time just by being able to do these visualizations for me. Because my stakeholders, if I'm not doing something that immediately benefits them, they ask, well, is there a purpose to this? Why do you need to clean up the org? And this basically does my documentation for me so that I can overwhelm them with data points. And that part's great, but it then also gives me a starting point where I'm, 6-8 hours ahead of where I would be had I had to make this all myself. Org check, literally my favorite. Oh, so cool. All right, now we are heading in to Chrome extensions. Now, I already told you about Bitly. Wrong place, wrong time there, Bitly, but that's a good one. Let's go into my others, because if you are if you're at a company that allows you to use Chrome, hopefully, these are Chrome extensions that don't hinder your work speed, but they do make what you do every day so much easier. Salesforce Navigator for Lightning. Some of you may have known about Salesforce Navigator before. It used to only work in Classic, but now they put in a couple patches just this year, and it works great for Lightning. This is, your Navigator cheat code. Us as admins or developers, we know how to go into setup, and we know to go to the object manager, and we know how to find things really fast. Great for us. Salesforce Navigator can make us even faster, because as you look on my left-hand side, Apple users Shift Command Spacebar, Windows users Shift Control Spacebar. This pops up wherever you are in Salesforce. And then you can start typing in anything in Salesforce. You can start typing in the object. You can start typing in list views. You can start typing in log in as, and then the name of that user. It makes what you do even faster. So it gets you to the parts of setup that you want to be in the quickest. Places where I would usually want to be the quickest is when somebody is complaining that they can't see a pick list value. I am jumping to that record type because I know the pick list value was obviously added, but probably wasn't added to the record type. So I am hyper speeding there so that I can fix it really fast. And then I can Slack my end user and be like, oh, that's interesting. Can you do a hard refresh? I think it's working now. And then it's there. They don't need to know that I messed up. They just need to know that it was fixed super fast. And maybe they start questioning their sanity or questioning their browser or questioning their eyesight. All of those things I'm for, to be honest with you. And this helps me with that. Oh, you know about Salesforce Navigator, but you've never seen any proper. Oh, okay, no problem. I have an org set up. Let's go there. Okay, So Command Shift Spacebar, I'm an Apple user, so I just press Command Shift Spacebar, hold them all down at the same time. And if I start typing opportunity, you can see, listen, I can go to the details, the fields, the page layouts, all of that stuff. If I know my flow name, I can start typing in that flow name. This is a sandbox org, so it has nothing in it, but I can start typing in flows, right? And so it goes to setup, takes me directly to flows. Now keep in mind, right now I'm in setup. You can use Salesforce Navigator anywhere in Salesforce. You do not already have to be in setup to use it. It pops up whenever you need it, like a cute little genie, and it takes you to where you need to go. Does that help in terms of navigating, or do you want me to show other things? No problem at all. It is glorious, Adam. It's so glorious. And like we are fast navigators in Salesforce, and this just puts the cherry on top. Yay, perfect. I will keep this up. We can always go back to it and I can demo more things. So yeah, it's very, very cool. All right, let's go back to my present in full screen. Salesforce Navigator. Yeah, can't say more good things about it. And you can see from the screenshot that I took here, I'm on a regular sales page and I just hit Shift Command Spacebar and it popped up. So you truly use it anywhere. Next up, a little related, but I've had a renewed love for it this year, Salesforce Inspector. So Salesforce Inspector lives everywhere in your org. Once you've installed the Chrome extension, it shows up as a little tab on the right-hand side, and I'll show you that after this. But Salesforce Inspector, I use every day. So we know that there are a lot of fields that we create that our end users never see. And in the past, what we've been trying to do, in the past, what we were instructed to do is, well, you make an admin page layout, and that's where you dump all of your fields so that you can see everything that's going on with that record. And that is cool, but it also brings up a problem, because if I'm on the admin layout and I'm trying to teach a new user how to use something and I'm showing them what I see, it just creates confusion. And of course, you can just log in as them and show them what they see, but it does creates a disparity. And so that's an unfortunate fact of this. Salesforce Inspector, you can easily look at all of your records data. You can use the search up here, this little search bar, to find the exact field that you're looking for, especially if you are in orgs with hundreds of fields, and it shows you that really quick. In the past, again, when I had stuff that I'd add to, or I had my own page layout, and let's say it was a field that wasn't on the page layout, the only way that I could see it is, okay, I'd run a report on it to then see that field, or I'd go to the page layout, edit the page layout, add the field back on, refresh my page so that I could see that data. Inspector bypasses all of that. Hang on, before I go into the next thing, I'm going to read the installing same. Salesforce Navigator seems unnecessary clutter so far, but I'll keep trying to figure it out, Nathaniel. It does make things faster when you are needing to navigate quickly. That's what I say. I would say if you are in a pinch and something's on fire in your org and people are like, I need this added to the page layout ASAP, type in your object or type in page layout and it takes you right there. Or you can type in the object and then say page layout and it takes you right there. So those kinds of scenarios where you feel like the fire is starting at your feet, try it in those circumstances. Yeah, Kenny, I do too. I spend so much time in Inspector. If I already know to click, why do I need the extra steps telling me? That is true. Not even going to argue with that, Nathaniel. To be honest, I didn't like Navigator a lot earlier either. This is so funny. I started liking Navigator when me and another admin on my team who were just very funly competitive, we would be on the same call and somebody would complain, well, I don't see that field. And then he and I would compete to see who could get to it faster. And he would beat me because he was using Salesforce Navigator and I was going to setup, going to object manager, going to page layouts. He was able to beat me because I'm doing 4 clicks while he's doing one shortcut key and then typing in what he wants. So that is what inspired me to start using Navigator for, was my deep and petty need to compete and win. Back to Inspector. So I'll show you guys Inspector too in my demo org. But something that I came to acceptance this year was Inspector's import functionality. We will know that users who are hardcore classic users will fight Lightning users on everything about the UI. It's a battle that'll never go away. There's also, and I was one of these people who are fiercely devoted to data loader. I was one of those people. I love data loader. I'd start my first job, and the first thing I do was install data loader. And I know there are problems with it, with its speed, with its patches, with its need to be updated. I agree, but I still loved it. It wasn't until that I started doing data loads using Salesforce Inspector that I realized the time I was wasting on data loader. Inspector, I mean, look at this thing. It accepts if it's an Excel or a CSV, you literally just copy and paste your rows and columns right into this right here. You don't have to attach anything. You don't have to save as a CSV, make sure that it's all proper. You literally just insert it right here. And then you can determine your batch size, your number of threads. If it's for a high traction object like opportunities, obviously reduce your batch size. Depending on what other automation is going on, reduce your thread size. And then what I cut off here was after you paste in your Excel or your CSV data, your rows, it automatically picks up the rows here and says, hey, which field is this map to? Which field is this map to? Which field is this map to? It maps based on API names. So if you name your column headers based on the API name, it'll find it immediately and you can just hit import. If you don't, no problem. It's easy to just click into the box, start typing in the name of the field, and it'll auto-populate for you. So easy. To be honest, the thing that threw me off initially is even though I would go into Inspector and I'd hit update versus import, and I'd select my target object, the button being called import always scared me. I was like, well, I'm hitting update, but is it going to import? Am I importing duplicates? I know that seems silly, but that was where my mental fear was. And so it wasn't until I practiced with it in UAT that I'm like, oh, just a poorly worded button. That's totally fine. And I started using this. This is so much faster than data loader. It allows you to retry your failed immediately afterwards. You can just, usually it fails because timeouts or whatever. You just reduce your batch size and you retry again. But it is such an amazing update and importing tool. So yes, and I'm just going to escape real quick. There we go. And I just want to show you what it looks like. Oh, and by the way, to make it go away, just hit escape. Go to sales. And then Inspector, if you've never installed it, when you do install it, it's just tucked away right there. And so if I go to Burlington Textiles, why not? And I click on this, and then I hit show all data, everything's popping up for me. Gives me the ID up top, how generous of you, all of my fields. And if I wanted to go back to the record, I click the down arrow and hit view record in Salesforce. Adam, I'm so glad. Oh, yes, Kenny, that is true too. So I am not as comfortable with Sockwell. I am working on it, but I don't feel comfortable enough to demo it because I don't want to lead you guys astray. But yes, I've seen it used by others and it's beautiful. Present full screen, Navigator, Inspector. Better Salesforce formula editor. Honestly, this was probably the first thing that I ever installed from a Chrome extension. I also uninstalled it for a couple of years because it got really buggy really fast and it annoyed me. And I started, copying and pasting my formulas into like an editor like Sublime or something so I could see these colored problems. What I do with Better Salesforce Formula Editor is I will start, once you install the Chrome extension, essentially this tab comes up right here, Better Formula. What I do, how I use it, is I like to use my Advanced Formula tab, because I am a Steve Mo prodigy, and I abide by his advice where he says, don't be so confident. Just use these buttons, use the insert field, use your insert operator, use your insert function. Avoid easy mistakes by just inserting for you rather than being like, oh, I know the name of that field. It is account underscore persona underscore C. Like, don't do that to yourself. Just use the buttons that are available to you. So after I've made my formula, I then go into the Better Formula tab and I look at it in this format, especially if I'm having trouble with it, like if I'm doing a nested if I'm doing a complicated and or statement, I'll put it in here so that I can see where I'm missing. And you can see right here, in this particular one, I added one too many parentheses, so it shows up as red. Again, just simple things to make writing formulas a little bit faster, troubleshooting a little bit easier. Let's go on. And I will say this version of Better Salesforce Formula Editor, that's what it's called. They should have had a second meeting to discuss that name, but that is what it's called in the extension store. Way better than previous versions. Previous versions had bugs that honestly caused me to uninstall this until this year again. Oh yeah. Yes, true. I still do like Sublime. Crazy Compare. This is a Chrome extension and I love it. So when you install it, basically every time you are in the setup function of Salesforce, you will see this right at the top. And so you will be able to compare profiles whenever you want. And it compares everything about the profile. What classes they have access to, what objects. Right here, I just highlighted field differences between these two profiles. But I know in years past, we've used like Perm Comparator or other third-party tools that essentially took us out of Salesforce, had bugs, had slow load times, and honestly wasn't giving us the data in a nice, clean format. And also like endless drop downs. Crazy Compare is by far the cleanest profile comparison tool that I've ever used. Does not slow down your org. I've had no problems with it getting in the way of other tools. And it gives me very clean, very clear, well, this is where the differences lie. And then I can make changes from there. On to the next one. Fake filler. Okay. There's nothing I want more than to not have to think about dummy data that I put in when I'm trying to do testing. And as much as I want fake filler to be that for me, it is not in the way that I work. And that's what I'm highlighting here. It works well with forms, but doesn't work with your screen flows or when actually editing the record. So there are many times when I, as an admin, am trying to run a screen flow to make sure that it's working correctly, or I'm trying to do an edit record to recreate a problem a user said to me. And I am like, oh my God, I have to fill in 16 fields before I can even see the error. And it's so annoying. I was hoping fake filler would be that for me. It's not, but it's still a good Chrome extension, especially if you are on the marketing side of things and you guys are creating website forms, because that is where your testing can be made faster. Because what it is when you are on the form page itself, you just right click, fake fillers right there for you. And you can say, hey, just fill all of this, fill all the inputs, fill this form, or just fill the specific field that I'm on. So it does work for that functionality. So for marketers, this is a definite time save. For me and my lazy way of testing, not a time save so much. Now, in the same vein of that, I will say there are also instances where you're trying to build a new custom object, or you're trying to build something in UAT, but you're in a sandbox that's not a full sandbox because your company doesn't have budget for it, but you want to show that it's working. But that means that you have to create dummy data. Mockaroo, and I think Nathaniel said this too, Mockaroo is definitely my favorite one. It offers you tons of different data types, tons of different field values, offers you the flexibility and being like, oh, well, I only want anything that's a country in Scandinavia to be in my data, and it fills that for you. It exports it as a CSV. You can then import that data using Salesforce Inspector, and your fake data is made there for you. I use this all the time, especially for presentations, especially if I'm in a dev org and I'm trying to show more than 3 fake records so that the stakeholder truly understands what's happening. Macaru is a great one. It does come as a CSV and you have to import it, but still time savings. So those are my 2 dummy datas that I like. I wish fake filler was better, maybe one day. Colorzilla. So this is again for people who are creating things that are outward facing, but may not have that artistic prowess or even that artistic patience. I fall in both of those categories. I am asked to make dashboards and I want to make them stunningly colorful. I want the colors to make sense and relate to each other, yet be different enough from each other that you can still like tell the pie chart apart. If I'm left to my own devices, I create colorblind garbage. My best intentions, I cannot make a cohesive color palette. I can't do it. What I've done in the past is I'll Google image search like vibrant color palette or pipeline color palette, anything, and then I'll try and mimic those colors. But depending on the image that I found, it may not give me the RGB. It may not give me the codes that I need to update it in Salesforce. That's where Colorzilla comes in. I use the eyedropper feature the most. I got my Salesforce blue here. I just literally dropped the color dropper over it and it gives it for me right up here. So then I'm able to use this in my Salesforce dashboards, anywhere where I need to, make colors more stunning. That is how I use this functionality. The people who can just match colors together are incredible, but that's not me. So Colorzilla for the rest of us. Yes, custom apps, yes, for brand guidance. I don't know. I just steal from others, but I need the codes. So that's where Colorzilla comes in. All right, last but not least, Amazon buys. With the holidays coming up, we are almost practically guaranteed to get gifts that will cause present face. You know the face I'm talking about. The face that's like, oh, ramekins. That's great. Yes, I do foresee one day making creme brulee for 8. Yes, thank you. Yes, right? It's going to happen. It's going to happen. The Amazon buys that I'm suggesting next are ones that I have tested. I have not just seen these on TikTok or Instagram Reels and pasted them here. I actually fell victim to those ads and I bought them myself and they actually work. So I'm only showing you the ones that I like, and I'm only showing ones that relate to work. So I'm keeping this professional, guys. I totally am. So these are the 3 that I have personally and that I would recommend. The first up is the productivity clock. So if you have not researched the Pomodoro method or the tomato method, it's this working concept where you work in smaller chunks, completely focused on one task, and then when that time period is up, then you content switch. It's a great method, especially if you're one of those people who knows that they have to get a ton of work done, but for whatever reason, that feels like the perfect moment to organize your spice cabinet. This may be for you. It comes as a cute little octagonal, hexagonal shape clock, and you literally just turn it to what kind of timer that you want, and then you go. It is very cool. It has the ability to have an actual alarm or a silent alarm, and I use it every day. It's on my shelf right here, and I use it to focus. The only thing that I do not like about this clock is the clock face. By default, it does not, it's not backlit. So it will be backlit when you hit the snooze button, or when the alarm goes off, it brightens up. But other than that, it stays dark. So depending on your room and the lighting conditions, there may be times in the day where you can't quite see the time on this clock. And that is the only thing that I dislike about it. But in terms of productivity, it's fantastic. Under stair stepper. I think during the pandemic, we all tried the variety of things and we were jealous of the people who had those under desk treadmills and went, I don't have that money. Under stair stepper is where it's at. And I will say this one specifically, you will get tired in less than 5 minutes. The hydraulics on this can be adjusted and are no joke in terms of resistance. I have had mine for 3 years and the resistance has not weakened at all. It is definitely a workout for your legs. Even when you're sitting, you can use it. And it's a nice way to keep your feet busy, or it's a nice way to feel like you're not going to die in this sedentary life that you've given yourself. Perfectly good tool. And then the last one that I really like, and this is so silly, but I like it. I am always at my desk. I eat at my desk. I'm a messy eater, right? But I don't like to see crumbs. Desktop vacuum. This guy specifically, charge lasts forever, and it is strong. It picks up hearty crumbs. I'm talking like croissant crumbs, like big old chunks. It's like, no problem, dude. You're a slob, but I'll pick this up for you. Great little tool. Highly recommend. And yeah, it makes you more productive. So this totally works in the line of what I was tasked with providing today. Yes. That is what I have. Now, I know, oh wait. um, I also promised we would do a giveaway today. I need, for the people that are left, I think I have everybody, but whoever is a San Diego local can enter. You will be getting this very cool t-shirt. Please give me your preferred size if you win. And then I'm sending some cool stickers and a nifty water bottle to you. So it is mine and Christy's way of letting you all know we are thankful for you and thankful for the time that you spend your lunch hours with us or your later in the day hours with us. Just never want you guys to think that we take you for granted, because we love doing this and just love speaking about Salesforce. So San Diego locals, I currently have my wheel of names. Are these the only San Diego locals that we have? Is that possible? I'm also local. Kenny. All right. Perfect. So I'm going to spin this wheel. I'm going to select 2 winners, and those 2 winners just pop in your size t-shirt preference and your address, or actually, no, let's respect privacy here. You guys are going to copy link address. Thank you. You guys are going to email me. No. Oh, Lord have mercy. Guys, I can do this. You know what? I'm just going to type it in tracie.hart@trailblazercgl.com. That's my email address for my winners. If you can do that, and I will make sure to ship them. You will definitely get them before Christmas. If it's right at Christmas, most likely. Okay. So let's hear it. Click to spin. Clicking to spin. And then click the stop. Oh no, it's going to stop on its own. Our first winner, Shaylee Brown. Shaylee, send me your deeds. You want cool. It's clapping for you if you can't hear the audio. All right, I'm going to remove Shaylee, and I'm going to spin one last time. Kenny, you are our 2 Thanksgiving winners today. Please email me your shirt size and your address. You guys are rock stars for joining. I'm going to hit stop share right now. There we go. And that is it for today. I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday, or if you're not celebrating, I hope you have a wonderful, long and restful weekend. We will see you guys in January, because there will not be any session in December because we're taking the holiday ourselves. So we will see you back here in January. Thank you guys so much.